tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm. And so we're going to be announcing very shortly a major tariff on pharmaceuticals.
Donald Trump is not done yet. He's floating new tariffs on U.S. imports. In the last round, he had exempted certain key sectors like semiconductors and pharmaceuticals, but now he's targeting them too. Trump says he wants to make chips and drugs in America. His solution? Impose more tariffs.
We don't make our own drugs, our own pharmaceuticals. We don't make our own drugs anymore. The drug companies are in Ireland and they're in lots of other places, China. And all I have to do is impose a tariff. The more, the faster they move in. The higher the tariff, is very simple. It's inversely proportional. The higher the tariff, the faster they come.
These tariffs are expected by later this week. They would escalate the trade war even further. The question is, what is the end game? How will this trade war end? Well, this is not Trump's first rodeo. He launched a trade war against China in his first term as well. His concerns were largely the same. China has a massive trade surplus with the US. China is manipulating its currency and China is stealing US intellectual property. All fair complaints. At first, Trump tried talks with China. He and Xi Jinping agreed on a 100-day roadmap. When that failed, the tariffs came into the picture. Trump fired his first salvo in 2018. He slapped tariffs on solar panels from China. What followed was multiple rounds of retaliation. By 2019, both sides were heavily tariffed. Trump levied tariffs between 10 and 30% on China. They targeted almost $550 billion in exports. And China? Well, they targeted US exports worth $185 billion. In scale, that was a smaller war. The tariff rates were much lower than this time. Plus, it was limited largely to China. This time, Trump is targeting every trading partner, even allies and partner countries. All of them are in the line of fire. So what can we learn from the first trade war? Does it offer clues to understand this one? Well, the biggest learning was this. Both China and America suffered because of it. By 2019, the trade war cost the US around 300,000 jobs. It also shaved 0.3% of the GDP. US companies also took a hit. They lost around $1.7 trillion in market value. That was the loss to the US. China, too, felt the pinch. Their growth had started to slow towards the end of the 2010s, and Trump's trade war made it worse. China grew by just 6.1% in 2019, which was their slowest GDP growth in 29 years. Both sides were hurt by this trade war. And how did it end? Well, the trade war did not have an official conclusion. It sort of faded away. In 2020, the US and China signed a partial trade deal. China agreed to buy $200 billion of extra US goods. They also promised not to steal US technology. But Beijing did not follow through. They bought none of the $200 billion in goods. So in simple words, they lied. Then came the Wuhan virus pandemic. As the virus spread, the trade war took a backseat. By 2021, Trump was out of office. His successor, Joe Biden, retained most of the tariffs on China, but his approach was less combative. Which brings us to present day. Trump resumed his trade war as soon as he returned to office. The question is, how will it end? Based on the last war, we can be certain of a couple of things. Number one, eventually there will be a statement and a settlement. It may not come today or tomorrow, or even this year, but the settlement will come because the costs are too high for both sides. In the US, Trump will face pressure from farmers. You see, oilseeds and grains are America's top export to China. Within that, soybeans are a big chunk. China buys American soybean to feed its pigs. If that export is hurt, American farmers will revolt. And these are the same farmers who voted for Trump. This happened in 2018 as well. Soybean producers lost $20 billion in trade. So that's point number one. Number two, even if the war ends, the impact will be long term. This conflict will push China and the US apart, basically speed up their decoupling. The proof is the last trade war. China made up more than 15% of America's trade in 2018, but by 2024, it was down to under 11%. The US made up more than 13% of China's trade in 2018, which has now fallen to 11%. So both sides are moving away from each other. This promises to be a painful divorce, especially for consumers and businesses on both sides. And for the rest of the world? Well, for starters, it's a front row view to global big power competition. Two massive powers slugging it out in the open. And secondly, it's an opportunity. As old supply chains break down, new ones will emerge. If you play your cards right, you could reap the benefits.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.